What's going on, guys and gals? Stock Jock here, up $866 on the day. It has been slow out of the gates in the morning recently, so I have been kind of not trading very hard in the very morning, right at 9:30, and I've been just basically playing news plays recently, and this is one of those days where news plays paid off. Whole reason why I have subscriptions to chat rooms and news sources is because of days like this. $866. They paid for years of subscriptions. So anyway, getting into the trades. So HTGM, this one had news yesterday after hours, I believe it was. So it's somewhat already played out. You can kind of look at the daily here. It has spikes, but it always sells off. All these spikes, every one of them sold off. So it's not like it's going to run on it. So you got to keep that in mind when you're looking at, you know, a gap and go strategy kind of thing. Is what did the stock do previously? I mean, you have one time where went candle over candle and had 2 days of running, but the rest of them recently, and recently is the trend, pop and drop, pop and drop, pop and drop. So today, no different. Um, it was on the leading gap, one of the leading gappers, so I wanted to play it. So out of the gates, big sell off, kind of a consolidating candle, and I wanted to play for the red to green move right here. So we were inside this candle. I was waiting for it to break the high of the previous candle, which it did. I got in at 392, popped up real quick to 396, started coming right back down, and I sold basically break even on that, and it just sold off for the rest of the day. So, if this is going to be a strong move, you would have expected big volume to come in, break over $4 and go high day, and just didn't do that. In fact, it sold off every bit of the gains it had, and it ended red. So really terrible, really terrible move on this stock. So I expect this just to keep going down in the days to come. CCCR, this one started hitting the scanner. A couple of chat rooms were watching it. We had the kind of a pop-up consolidation, pop up again. This is the 1 minute chart here. And I was just watching, the sell off, and the next move back up. So we were inside this candle, and I was looking for it to break the high of the previous candle right here after a pullback. That's the key. You have to have a pullback. I'm not just going to chase it as it's running up. I want a bit of a pullback before I get in. So we got that pullback here. I got in this candle here as we were breaking 317. That's the level right here. You can see 317. I got in at basically 319. Got a quick pop up, and I sold at 325 for a nice little win there. What is that, a 30-second hold? So not a bad trade, or almost a minute. I'm sorry, 50-second hold. So not a bad trade. Got me on the board. Green is green. Here we had a 5-minute play that I was trying to play. As you can see on the 5-minute chart, spike up, consolidate on this candle, didn't make a new high, so we'll call that a consolidation candle, and we were inside this candle. We wanted to play the break of here, hoping for high of day, so 326. It looked like it was going to do that, so I went long at, let's see, what is it? I went long at 329, didn't get the greatest fill in the world, popped up really quick, up to 335, didn't keep going, and I just held on to it a little too late, sold on the way back down, and lost a penny or 2 pennies on the play, $60. EKSO, this was my next trade. This one, Jason Bond picks. They decided to go swing this one, and when they sent out the email and all that, I know that a couple thousand other people are going to buy this stock with a lot of volume. So I decided to try to scalp that move, and this is when the email I got anyway, 10:26 a.m. I went long at 186 and scalped it on the move up for 3 pennies, $90. So HTGM, this one was starting to look like MBOT, and if you remember from MBOT yesterday, this sucker, well, it's not going to show yesterday's ticks, but this sucker just sold, had good news, but sold off so bad that it went 52-week low. So on HTGM, this thing had good news, and it sold off every bit of what the news provided for it on the pop. So I was thinking that this thing is going to look like MBOT from yesterday, I mean, as you can see here, we got low a day, consolidate back up, the 5 minute low a day, consolidate back up, low a day, consolidate, low a day. So, I mean, there's a stair stepping down trend here, and I was hoping to catch that next wave down, thinking that we'd get a flush as soon as this thing just went red on the day. Uh, so at 10:31, you can't really see it here. Probably better on this chart. I'm looking at pop up candle. I'm hoping for this curl here, uh, curl back down. So you can see the pulse down, consolidate, and I'm looking for the pulse back down. And we broke this low right here. It just didn't go anywhere like I thought it would. So inside of that, I went short 325. Unfortunately, it didn't go anywhere when I actually hit that. I shorted it right at a low a day. And it popped back up. And as it was popping back up, I covered for basically a 3 cent loss. And sure enough, it did exactly what I wanted the next time. It was a much cleaner play. Went low of day and actually went red here. And it ended up being red on the day. So it was a good idea. It just didn't pan out. So GLBS was my next play. This thing just out of nowhere, we're starting to get some volume, and I have a little bit of a thesis on this. I could be right, I could be completely wrong, but as you can see on the daily here, just huge selling, big sell off, and then all of a sudden we're kind of flattening out here, right here, and the 20-day moving average has caught up to it. It's just kind of been consolidating around the 20-day here, not really making that next move down. So if I'm thinking about it, if I'm this long time short seller that's just made a crap ton of money on it, I'm thinking to myself, maybe it's time to cash in. This thing isn't going any lower. I'm gonna start cashing in. So that's what I think maybe started today. Is just those shorts cashing in, and they made a ton of money. They made an absolute crap ton of money on their short for sure. But maybe it was them cashing in. So I'm watching the 5 minute, I'm watching the 1 minute. This thing is just starting to go kind of parabolic. 5 minute, you can see the volume picking up, and I want to get a piece of that. There's big resistance at 150, so I had that in mind. You kind of see that uh, right here on the daily. Keeps tapping that 150, come back down. So I knew that was a big level that needed to break, but I just want to catch some of this momentum. So at 12:53, where are you? Somewhere in here, 12:53. Um, I went long, just trying to catch a little bit of this momentum. Made 2 cents on the play. I think I played it again. Yeah, I did it again. Just catching this momentum, trying to get. I started noticing a trend here. Maybe I could zoom in just a little bit more, and that would help out. But you can kind of see this 9 minute moving average right here. It kept bouncing off of that. So it would pop up, sell off, but every time it would sell off, it would come right back up. See this big red candle, red candle, red candle. Keep tapping that 9 minute moving average and popping back up. So I started just playing that 9 minute moving average. Every time it would sell off, I would buy there, and try to get a couple pennies off the play. You can see I did this like 3 or 4 times, different times. Just finally just started to look like, okay, here's the top. Watching the 5 minute chart, it's not going to go anywhere. It did kind of hit that 50. Did it really hit that 50-day? Wow, I didn't notice that. Guess so, right there. So it hit that 50-day moving average, and that was some kind of big resistance there, and it came all the way back down and then ended red on the day. So who knows? Maybe we see that kind of move tomorrow. Maybe that person was short, had a crap ton more shares. So it's something I'm going to keep on watch. I know it ended red today, but if I see the same kind of volume coming in tomorrow, you bet your bottom dollar I'm going to go long on it this time. MOSY. This one, again, is a reason why I subscribe to chat rooms that have a ton of people in them. Jason Bond Picks is one of them. Link is down in the description. But there you go right there. Okay, so MOSY, first off, it has two things going for it. One is the breakout right here on the daily. If it was going to crack this, you might have a move up. Second thing I had going for it is Jason Bum Picks decided to go long on this at the exact same time. So that's two things going for it. Felt confident on this trade that I could scalp a good bit out. You can see right here, this volume here, this is all Jason Bum Picks. And as soon as it broke this level, then everybody else is getting in as well. So I went long 1404 right here, looking for the break at 2, knowing that people are going to see this right here, and they're also going to go long. So I knew we'd probably get $2 out of it, and I sold a minute later as we hit $2. I went over to 209. I didn't get any kind of fill like that, but I did get $2, 6 cents on the trade, $180. TECK. This is a coal stock. They were halted for news. They came out with revised guidance, downward guidance, and I was just going to go short on the stock when it opened back up. It opened back up, and I went short immediately, 1625 right here. Um, but it popped up really high, and I was like, oh my gosh, is this some algorithm going to just freaking flush me out? Um, so it popped back up, and then on this candle, it actually started coming back down. And since it popped all the way to like the 1645, so I was down quite a bit on this, $600 at one point. But it was pretty negative, and other coal stocks were dropping because of the poor guidance. So I decided to keep it, and finally I was able to exit as it was coming back down in this candle here. And I covered for basically a penny win, which I was happy for. And yes, it did go all the way down here, but being down so much, I was just thankful to get out without a huge loss. So I got a small win out of it, but I also would have taken a small loss, since it got close to my entry point. I was down so much as it was. So it didn't move how I thought it was, so I cut it loose. ADMP, this one was a big winner. They have an EpiPen that just got approved by the FDA, and it was halted for news. The news was that it got approved for their EpiPen. This stock has the only thing going for it is this EpiPen. You know, everything else is in phase 2 or phase 1 trial. So pretty big news for this company. And out of the halt here, I went long and got filled at 457, 3,000 shares. This is really good news for it, right? So kind of big selling off out of the open. I really didn't think it would drop this low, but it did, and I got filled at 457, like I said. Started coming back up. A lot of selling pressure. So I didn't really know where this was going to go. I had a feeling it should hit 52-week highs at the very least, which would be over, around the $5 mark. So I was down a good bit, and then it started coming back up, but not very fast at all. Not like a stock that just got approved for a drug that's a small cap, should. So it's coming back up. I sold. Let's see, 503 inside this candle right here, as it looked like it might just stop going up and maybe come back down again. This would be resistance. I sold 2,000 shares here just to lock in some profits, and then I had 1,000 shares left, and I just kind of let it ride. It did break high of day finally, and I ended up selling. When did I sell the other? 3 more minutes later. So inside this pop right here, and as it was coming back down, I sold the rest of the 1,000 shares. It did break 5, but came right back down. So I sold at 491, 1,000 shares there. So this was my big winner on the day, and I did try to play it again later on. We did get, let's see, where is it? I was watching this 5-minute chart, right? Pretty obvious resistance at 510. I went. There was a lot on the ask side though, so I was kind of really watching that, and I tried to get a piece of that action, breaking 510. But as soon as I got filled, it started to come back down. Let's see where are we at. Maybe you can see it a little bit better. 511. Okay, so right here you can see it's kind of wedging up. Maybe draw it for you. No, that's not the tool I want. Let's just draw it. So you can kind of see a little bit of a wedge right here. And I was saying, okay, if I could break that, yeah, then it's going to go up. But it started to sell off, and so I just took 1,000 shares, just playing it super safe, wanted to protect my gains. Didn't break it there, did curl and finally break it, and it took off up to 580 once it did. But I didn't. I tried to get filled right here, but I just did not get filled. It was so frustrating to see that. So I did end up trying it again. Let's see. Towards the end of day, I believe. Let's see. right around here. We were trying to see if, this 588 level could break and maybe go over 6, but, just kind of run out of time, and it didn't work out. We we did break, or it did look like 590 was going to break. You can see right here. It's tap it once, tap it twice, 3, 4, 5 times. Um, Eventually 5 times, but inside here it just wasn't going, and I took a shot at it, 1,000 shares. Didn't go how I thought it would. Couldn't do it during market hours, so I lost, 30 bucks on that trade. Not trying to knock it out of the park there at all, but nonetheless, lost 30 bucks. And then MC, I don't. Oh yeah, this one was just news, a merger news with another company. Took a stab at it, 1,000 shares. It had this huge spike and didn't go anywhere after that. So I ended up losing $10 on that trade. But my last trade was AMD. AMD just got some really good news that the Department of Energy has chose them for some. There's the headline right there. Picked for research on supercomputer hardware architecture, blah blah blah. So just really good news that the FDA. I mean, this is government contract kind of stuff, right? So really good news for AMD that they were chosen, not Intel, right? So I went long as soon as I heard it. Actually, straight up butterfingered it. I could have had a better fill. It could have been a way better fill, but I got filled right here at 11:57, and I wrote it. There's only 1,000 shares. I wrote it for a 10-cent win, $100, which brought me to 866. And the two biggest plays of the day for me were because of news plays, just hearing the news. So again, this is the reason why you got to have news plays, and this is why you got to be part of subscriptions to chat rooms. They pay for themselves if you know how to use them. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask. You can find me at stockjockat@gmail.com. You can also find me in my current Discord chat room, which is down in the description below. You can come in there, answer any questions that you may have, or ask any questions you may have, and I'm there to help. I might not always respond immediately because I'm trading, but I will respond. I have it open all day long. So again, I hope you all were green today, and I will see you in the next video.